"Can you hear the music?" Charlie had asked while reading his sheet music for his upcoming band concert. The Clown Portrait was the piece. He followed in my footsteps and played the flute. I played in the jazz ensemble in high school. I was my father's protege, and I was keen on continuing the family's tradition and legacy. Charlie wasn't interested in any of that. I was in bed in my dark and dim bedroom while drinking a glass of wine. I stared at the paved white ceiling while I wrapped myself in my blue blanket, the one that reminded me of Charlie, and reminisced about my boy. He used to snuggle in between us when he was younger and when he'd get scared. He was afraid of the monsters beneath his bed. I tried my best to contain the lid on a growing teenage boy, and while Charlie was a smart, sociable kid, I pushed him too hard. I didn't allow him to be, and that's where all the trouble started. The night they took my son had been the worst night of my entire life. It had been raining hard that day. All the inner pain and torment I felt had poured down from the sky in a steady volley. I hated rainy days after that. The echoes of voice rattled my ears with every raindrop that hit the ground. I tried to drown it out as best I could. I often failed. All I heard was his voice, calling out for me, for help, for someone to comfort him, wherever he was. "Do you hear the music?" That's what my father always told me. He wanted me to listen to the music in my head before I played it. He wanted me to feel it, to live it. He believed that music was a gift that had been bestowed upon mankind, a gift that transcended space, time, and the universe at large. I learned how to hear the music after a while, but everything changed when Charlie was ripped away by a strange, sinister force. Duncan believed that it had been an act of pure evil, something that had not been done by a singular man or woman, but by a group of like-minded evildoers set out on a common goal, whatever that may have been. I wasn't sure if that was the case, but I honestly didn't know what to believe. I didn't understand why Charlie had been abducted in the first place. I just wanted him back home. I began to hear Charlie's voice every night because he called out to me. I had failed as a mother when my son needed me most. I utterly failed, and I had no way of rectifying what I had done. I fondly remembered his kind features. He had bushy eyebrows, warm hazel eyes, and wavy dark brown hair. I used to run my fingers through it. It was as soft as a satin blanket. I'd move the heavens to do that again. He looked very much like his mother. I was a slightly above-weight woman with mocha brown skin and curly dark brown hair. There was a difference, though. I had large dark circles that surrounded my haunted eyes. They were filled with misery, anguish, and regret during the 3 years Charlie had been gone. The day that life without Charlie became the norm was the day a piece of my soul had died. A thick cloud of melancholy surrounded my marriage with Duncan. As much as we tried to act normal, we both secretly knew that that could never be the case. Things were so much different without him. I felt like a phony for trying to move on. I felt like I wasn't allowed to. I felt like I was betraying his memory. I worked at the music conservatory part-time at Ebony Lake Academy. Duncan was a history teacher there and coached basketball with Sullivan, his older brother. I made a good living, an honest one, the only thing I held on to when Charlie went missing. Without my profession, I don't know where I'd be. At the bottom of a river, perhaps. Peacefully buried beneath the ground, maybe. The school was underfunded, fading walls, aging lockers, dimmed light fixtures, archaic classroom boards and desks, amongst other things. It wasn't the greatest environment to be stuck in, but the children needed an education, or in many cases, a distraction, and I was there to provide that.